All right, I'm gonna try to do this one from start to finish pretty much for you guys. I already cut out the stencils I'm gonna use, that's pretty simple. If you have a Cricut or vinyl cutter or some sort, you can design your stuff and cut it out. This one is an American flag, and with it having the small stars and stuff and the stripes that are in it, I found that it's easier just to leave that stuff in. Don't try to weed it out. And then once you stick it on the cup, then you can remove the parts that you want to come out. It's just easier that way. So I'm going to cut the name away from it here because the name goes on the opposite side of the cup. And I just use I use a couple different ones. I like this clear adhesive here, or transfer tape. It's okay, but for some stuff and other stuff it's a little tricky. But for this, I like it because I can see through it to see where I'm actually placing. 1 second, I forgot my squeegee on the other side of the room here. Okay, now I have my squeegee. I'll put a nice hard pressure down onto that, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out one of my paws here. I need one of those for the other side of the cup as well. And then I need one of the canines for underneath the paw. Alright, so there we go. I got the paw, the canine goes underneath it, the flag, and then the name of the canine goes underneath the flag. So, let me get you positioned here a little bit better, and we'll start to put these on the cup. Alright, so I can't really get a good shot of this with the way I have my camera on my tripod here, so I'm gonna probably be in the way for most of this, but sorry, you just have to have to deal with me here. What I do before I start to put the designs on the top is I take a pen, and I take my cup and I set it down on the flat surface, and I put my pen on right against the flat surface, and then I just put a real light line around the top of the cup. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's just a very faint line, but then that gives me something to line my artwork up to. And this is just something, this is actually for my laser, for when I laser engrave cups. It holds the cup in place in the laser machine, but I just use it for this as well because it holds the cup in place real nice for applying the graphics. This can be a little tedious. This particular design took me 2 or 3 times to get it to where I could get it to go on fairly easily. I found out that just making the design, the overall design, not necessarily the length, but the width, making the overall design about a 1/4 inch smaller, really helped out for allowing it to go on a little easier, because the way the cup is tapered here, I was having a little bit of issue getting it to go on. So sometimes you just have to play around with your designs and find out what works for you. So I just lay it on here, lay it on the center, try to follow that line, and then I don't push down anything on the left or the right. I just want to get the center tacked down nice and good. Then from there I can go start working my way out to the outside. And like I say, you are going to have probably, especially doing something this long and this tall, you might end up having a couple little areas where it's going to try to bubble on you or wrinkle on you. But if you just take your time and work it down, this is one thing that I do have some experience at. I've done signs and graphics and stuff for several years, so applying the vinyl is easier for me maybe, but it's really still it's not that difficult. So once you get it on there, just get a nice squeegee down, and then you can remove your transfer tape. And this transfer tape, this is probably the 6th cup that I've used it on. As long as you put it back on a piece of paper to keep the dust out of it, you can reuse that if you've got multiple cups. And that's one thing that you can reuse the paper transfer tape, but it's a little less forgiving on reusing it. But that's one thing about the clear, that it is easy to reuse. So for the name, I have figured out from doing these cups, excuse me, here, that if I take my 2-inch tape here, come on, get started. If I put it on straight, right across there, give it a nice squeegee down, and then go across here and take this back off. Then I figured that if I get you positioned a little better here, if I put the edge of my tape right at the edge of my cup here, it's good this way. So all I have to do is worry about centering it this way. So what I do is I go up here and I put my thumbs right at the outside edges of where my previous design is. Now the other thing you can do, and I know from doing these other ones, that the center of my design is right about right here, right where the stripes finish and the stars start. So, and also the center of the name is right at the U. So if I look at that and line those two up, then I can just bring it down, put the edge of my tape right at the edge of the cup, and then I can just push it down like so. And a nice squeegee. Peel off my transfer tape, and I'll save that for when I do the canine on the other side. So now I've got the flag on there, and I've got the name. So now I need to move the other side. So what I do is I mark the middle of this design with my finger, rotate it right around, and set that right about in the center on the other side. And then I can put my other opposite side on. So we'll start removing this. If you start peeling up, just push it back down like that, and it'll relift, and most of the time it'll release. This is the, I'm probably going to get this wrong. I believe it's Oracal 851. It's their stencil, paint stencil and mask vinyl. So those are interested. But then again, the same thing. I'm going to use that line at the top to line up, and then just eyeball to get it straight. Push down the center, and then start working the outside. Now ones like this are easier because you can that are separate designs, because you can see the tape there is up, but I push down the paw and then push down this side, so the tape allows you to fold a little bit. I don't know if you can actually see that or not. All right, so there's that one. Give it a little squeegee down here. All right, and we can peel this one off. Okay, so all I got left is to put my canine on. I'll use the piece that I used from the other side. Stick it right across there. Go ahead and peel off the back. And then we'll line it up in the center. Move it down. And we're good to go. All right. So now that I have that on, I'll just take my little razor knife and I'll weed out the areas that I want to be weeded out. So up here. And you can see that, you know, I don't know, well, you probably can't see, but the stars, especially seeing how they're so small up there, they stay right in place. If I would try to weed that out before sticking it on the cup, it would be an absolute disaster. So anytime I have stuff that is small details, I usually tend to stick it on, even when not just mask, even on normal sign work that I would do. I would stick it on the vehicle or on the sign, and then remove the excess vinyl after it's been applied, because it's just so much easier to do it that way. Couple more pieces here. And then one here. Okay. So that one is good. Get this off of here. Come on. So there, we're good to go, ready for paint on that side. I'm gonna go ahead and weed off this side, so you guys don't have to sit and watch me do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so right back. It actually didn't take that long at all. It was about 30 seconds. So as you can see, all the stars are stuck down there. And now we are ready for our black base coat. So I'll get everything set up over there, and we'll resume once we get set up. Okay, we're ready to start putting some black down on this. The trick with this is very, very light coats. You don't want to put anything heavy on at all. So I've just got my setting here turned down on the gun. This is what adjusts your flow of how much paint comes out. So usually I turn it all the way in and then back it out just like a turn and a half, and that gets you a nice light coat. So let's start putting down some black. Again, very light coat. Top or bottom end here. Alright, I'm going to let that dry off for a few minutes, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so it's had a few minutes to dry up here, so we're going to go ahead and put in another coat. It really only takes about 5 minutes. This stuff, especially going on this thin, it dries real fast. So put another coat on here. I usually pay attention to right at the brim, go around a couple times, and then the end. second coat. We'll let her sit again for another 5 minutes and we'll be back. Alright, we're back for another coat here, and depending on how this looks, it may be the last, or I may end up putting another one on. So we'll see. And it's looking pretty good, so this will probably be my last one. We're up in the light. My edge. Yeah, it looks good. So I'll let that dry up. Turn that off. I'm going to let that dry up, and we'll come back and we'll remove the stencil. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, 15 minutes here maybe, and I'm going to go ahead and start removing some of these stencils. I just use a straight pin. I'm actually going to, here in the near future, make a little, like a big pencil type size of dowel rod, put a little hole in the end of it so I can cut the end of this ball end of this off and stick the needle up into that, so it makes it like a pencil, to make it a little easier to hold. These straight pins get a little difficult to hold, but basically I just pick right underneath the edge, and then you just start peeling away. You want to be careful, one, that you don't nick the paint that's outside the stencil, or two, that you don't nick the paint that's underneath the stencil. But if you don't go in this way, you know, try to stay almost perpendicular with the vinyl, and you can pick it right off. Just take your time. This doesn't take near the amount of time that it takes to do a oh crap. Well, what did I do here? That one is gone. Yeah, I think I fudged up. When I weeded this side, I weeded the wrong stuff out. Oh, great. This is what it should look like on the other side there. And I weeded the wrong ones. Yeah, so I'll fix that. I'll just cut a piece to go back into that, and respray it with a little bit of paint, so we can fix that easy enough. I guess that's what I get for trying to talk while I was doing my initial weeding, not paying attention, I guess. But as you can see, it's relatively easy to get these weeded out. These stars are a little tedious, but they still come right out of there. And it's nice having a stand or holder or something to hold your cup, so that you don't have to worry about holding that while you're while you're doing this, but that's that. This up here. Ouch, I poked myself. You do a lot of that too. And again, if you don't do those super light coats, this is not going to work very well for you, because you get the paint on too heavy and it's going to build up on top of the stencil, and when you go to pull it off, it's going to be bad. So that's that side. Let's get the name off here. Do our stripes. Okay, and then our stars. A few more left here. What I do is I pick it off, put it onto my thumb like that, and then put my finger on it, and that transfers it from my thumb onto my index finger. Works real easy for weeding vinyl, especially little small pieces like this. It is a little confusing sometimes when you're making these stencils, because you have to try to think of it as reverse sometimes, you know, depending on what effect you're doing or what you're doing, because, you know, the stencil I put on is actually the reverse of what's going to show through on the paint underneath. So there's that. I need to fix this here. What I'm going to do is I'll cut a little stencil out that's the reverse of this. Protect the whole thing, put it in my blast cabinet and blast this black away, and then I will put the right stencil back on and reshoot a little bit of black paint back in that area. So we'll do that. I'll cut out my stencils for my blue line, and I'll come back and show you how to put those on and do that. Okay, we're back. Got the paw all fixed up there the way it should have been, and now we're going to add in some stencils for the blue. Let me kill this fan here so you can hear a little bit better. We're going to add the stencils for the blue. So I have them cut out here. Basically it's just a reverse of a couple sections that was in the original design, and so I just put it on. I cut it to be 1.001 bigger than the original stencil, so that it will overlap the black just a little bit, and that allows me to not have any chance of any of that silver underneath showing through. So get it lined up here. This one's a little more difficult than what it usually would be because of me having to redo this left side of the paw. I didn't get it exactly back on at the same place as what the original would have been, so it's just a little bit off there, but I'm happy with it. So put that if I can talk, get that pressed down real good around there, and then we'll spin it around and we'll put our blue stripe stencil on. Again, it's just cut to be just a slightly bigger than the original. Get stuck on here first to start. Probably should have transfer taped this one. Come on. Gotta be patient. There we go. We're stuck on there. Let's run it right across on that. Get this one ran across. And you say you want to see just a slight bit of the black peeking out from underneath that stencil, so that you don't have any problems with the silver showing through. So once I get that on, then I just take some masking tape. Oh crap, what the heck happened there? I don't know what that is. I gotta get that cleaned off. I don't want to use lacquer. It's going to mess up my paint, but I don't know what that is. Must have had something on my fingers when I was... get a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Just a dab of rubbing alcohol in there. That does not want to come off. So I'm going to have to touch that up with a little bit of black, but we'll do that. I'll do that after I get the blue added on here. So let's go ahead and add some tape in here. And make sure that you're sealed down real good on the edges. Alright, got that one. And let's get this one done. Now that's the other advantage of using paint over E-word, because especially with that paw, if that had been epoxy, that'd have probably been SOL. They had to start all over again. So grab some paper. And I just use, I have some of this paper from sublimation transfers that I do. And I'm just gonna wrap it around like so. And I should have pulled off a piece of tape first. All right, now let's try this again. Come on. There we go. And that will taper down. Like so. All right. And we are good to go. So let's get a little bit of blue paint in here. Get my stool out of the way. I always leave a little bit of lacquer thinner in my gun, just to keep it clean. Get my air or my exhaust fan turned on here. Alright, again, light coats. We'll take my settings all the way in, and we'll back it out just till we start seeing the paint come out, and we'll put some light coats on here. Alright, so that's coat number one. Let her sit for 5 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, we're going to put another coat on here, and you can also, to help the drying process, just take your gun and when you first pull back the trigger, so if you pull it back just to the first stage, you get air and you can kind of blow dry a little bit to help with the drying process. So we'll blow this off a little bit. See my stencil lifted up just a little bit right there. Get that pushed back down. Again, just spraying with a little bit of air. Put another coat on. Just a little bit of air, and we'll let that seal while we put one more coat on. Alright, so our last final coat on here. Alright, looking good, looking good. So we'll let that sit for 15 minutes here, 10-15 minutes. And we'll remove the stencil. I'll touch up that little spot that needs touched up on the black, and we'll be ready for some clear. Alright, we got our cup all finished up here, and we are ready to lay down some clear. So, always something, I tell you. I'm gonna put a little bit of black in my airbrush here and touch up this little spot here I just noticed. Be right back. Alright, we are ready for some clear. I got my clear mixed up in my little cup here, 1 ounce, and that will be enough to do this cup. Barring, I'm going to put my larger pot on here so that I can dump almost half of that in at one time. Alright. Alright, we're going to do our light tack coat here. Alright, I'm going to let that flash off, and we'll be back to do our final last coat. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes, so we're going to put our last and final coat of clear on this. Since I am going to be spraying a heavier coat this time, I'm going to put my breathing mask on, so you probably won't be able to hear me if I do any talking, but I'll be right back. Alright, I got it done there. I got a little bit of clear left, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish off the gun, what's left in the gun. And there we go, we're done. Alright, that is it. You can see how nice and shiny that is. It will even gloss up a little even more once it's actually dry, but 30 minutes this will be ready to go. The customer will be picking it up tomorrow. So as you can see, it's been just over 39 minutes, barring the problems that I had, a few problems in your wait times, 5 minutes in between your coats of base, and then 20 minutes, half hour, after you're done to put your final clear coat on. So even if you add another, say, hour, that's still about an hour and a half, and a half hour from now, which will be 2 hours, this cup will be ready to drink from. So hope this helps somebody out. Any questions, feel free to look up Randy or myself, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.